photography is all about capturing the moment, but in that moment, the feel or how you want to convey that image.
Welcome to the One at a Time podcast, where we take things one day at a time. Today in the studio, we have Aloysius.
Hello, hi JJ. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming into the studio.
Yeah, it's been a while since we last met.
Yeah, since we caught up properly, so let's just get it on camera. Before we begin, Aloysius, can you do a quick introduction about yourself and what you do?
Okay, so I'm a full-time photographer. I shoot mostly weddings, and I think most people know me for my live music photos. So I've been shooting for like 15, 16 years. Started out doing music, and only when I was like looking for my own wedding photographer, that I decided to like, hey, maybe shooting weddings not a bad thing. Then I got the opportunity and dived into it. Yeah, so I quit my full-time job back then and went into wedding photography and still doing music at the same time.
Nice. Yeah, so like Aloysius, we first met because at that time you were shooting a lot of like concerts, you were shooting a lot of live performances, live gigs, and at that time, God knows how many years ago, I was still performing a lot, and we met. And I thought that concert photography is something that is very cool, right? Because everything happens kind of like weddings, right? Everything happens kind of in the moment. You don't really have time in the studio to like do redos or whatever, right? So do you think that like that is something that you gravitate towards? Because it seems like your work is always about capturing like the live moment.
Yeah, I think in a sense that along the way, I have so when I started shooting music, I always wanted like the action, capturing that moment, and like how do I freeze these action shots in the camera. So I practice a lot, and it seems that I gravitate more towards like very dynamic, spontaneous moments, like the jump shots or like the musicians screaming in your face kind of thing. But when I started, it's like a challenge for me, personal challenge. Like I need to get sharp, in focus jump shots of musicians. So I think the first few years I really shot a lot. I try to shoot a lot of those kind of images, and I gravitate more towards that, and some shots have remained quite iconic, I guess, in a way. So weddings is kind of like the same. You need to be in that moment. You need to anticipate when that moment will happen, and I'll try my best to get a good shot.
So like whether it's like live performances, like concerts, like you just mentioned, you just came from an IU concert, right? You just shot IU's concert.
Yep.
Can see it, no? Can see, right?
Can.
Yeah, you shot IU's concert, and like at weddings or concerts, there will be photographers and videographers. Like, right? What do you think is the main difference between a photographer and a videographer in terms of like the approach? Because it's all about really capturing moments also.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much similar, but video-wise, of course, you have to consider like the movements, and like people want to see, when they want to see a video, they tend to see like clips, right? Like some movement, maybe some audio in the background. So it's kind of like the same. Both photo and video, we need to anticipate what will happen. But a still image, you capture it kind of like in that moment, in that frame, and yeah, that's just there in that split second. Video, you can have like a few seconds to a couple of minutes. Yeah.
So, these days, especially with I guess like the improvement in technology, right? I'm sure when you started 15, 16 years ago, like smartphones weren't exactly near to how they are like today,
No,
right?
not at all.
Not at all, right? Last time it's like what, 2 megapixel or something like that,
4
right?
megapixel.
Yeah. So do you feel like over time there is less appreciation for professional creative photography, because many people feel like, I also can, because the photos that they take with their new shiny phone seems to be like of similar quality, even though it's probably not nah. But do you feel like professionals like you are like less appreciated because of this?
It's kind of like a yes and no answer. Sometimes we do feel that like, okay, hey, if you're looking at it from your phone or from an iPad, maybe most people won't be able to tell the difference. But if you kind of like enlarge it, or you say you want to use it for a huge print, then probably you'll be able to tell the difference. While technology has improved so much and the mobile phones are getting so much better, so much higher resolution, you still cannot replace, if you want like huge print, or even like the size of a billboard, or even like the wall we have behind here. Obviously, the quality from our main professional cameras is going to be much better in terms of look at the bigger picture. The bigger quality.
Right. But it's also a bit more of like the eye lah, right? Like the experience in learning how to look out for certain things as you capture the shots.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. Because these days, I guess professional equipment isn't that unattainable either. Like a lot of the big brands, they start to have a bit more like a consumer level but like still professional kind of stuff. Like, you know, like Sony, they have like the ZV-E one, which is so-called more entry level, like point. I guess it's not exactly a point and shoot, but you know, like it's a very
Entry
easy
level,
to
yeah.
kind of, and it's professional in some sense right?
Yep,
And
yep.
everybody can get their hands on it, you know, and but the ZV-E one, for example, in your hands versus an amateur hands, the picture will come out different, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty of photography or even videography. We can be next to each other, holding the same camera, same lens, the subjects in front of us, but we may shoot it very differently. At first, we are already like slightly off. The angle's a little bit different. We might shoot it. Maybe you might choose to shoot it from a high angle. I shoot it like from a lower angle and straight on. So, and even the post-processing, the editing is a bit different. So that's something that sets everyone apart. So, I mean, in a sense, there's no need to worry about like you are shooting the same thing, but the pictures are definitely going to be very different at the end of the day. Yeah.
It's the eye also lah, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So I think the eye also takes some time to it just takes a lot of practice and you'll get better at it, I guess.
So what would you say makes a good photographer? Like, what are the qualities of a good photographer?
I think everyone is a good photographer. Everybody can take good pictures, like you say, with technology and stuff right now. Like nobody wants to take a bad photo, right? Nobody wants to take a bad photo, but it takes a trained eye or even some experience to be able to portray a certain feeling in a photo or like capturing a jump shot. Like, okay, you can capture a jump shot, but is it sharp? Is it in focus? Yeah.
Okay, I have actually come across quite a lot of professional photographers that that kind of, let me find the word, like, okay, not want to use the word despise lah, but that feel like people who buy professional cameras and shoot on the auto setting is a bit cringy lah. What are your opinions on that?
Well, personally, I don't have any grudge on people who shoot
Yeah, you're very nice.
on auto mode. I think at the end of the day, like, you know, you buy a professional camera or a bigger camera, some might say that you just want a better quality. You want to have certain controls that you might not get from a small camera or from a phone. So auto mode works well, I would say, in most situations. But as you progress or as your skill level, or you get bored of the auto mode, then you have the other functions of the camera in the manual modes to kind of like play around and experiment. Yeah.
So I guess it allows you to kind of be a bit more creative also lah, because
Yeah.
everybody's
I would say to be more in control of what you really want, because like I say, after a while of shooting, and you will kind of know how you want an image to turn out, and to be able to achieve that as close as possible in camera without too much editing, so you spend less time on editing. So the camera will allow you to do that if you understand the different settings and the different functions that the camera has.
So because like you said lah, I mean, you very nicely put that like there are no such thing as bad photographers or whatever, but in order for you to, I guess, go out there and charge someone for it, you have to be of a certain caliber lah, right? I think lah, I hope lah. So what do you think is important, right, for people who want to become professional photographers to know in terms of technical skill in order for them to be able to sort of call themselves a professional?
I think, to put it very loosely and bluntly,
Yeah.
a professional photographer would just mean that you're earning an income and living off from what you do lah. But of course, to be able to earn an income, to charge a certain amount that you charge, you have to be good at what you do lah. So I think the base would kind of be like, if someone looks at your photo and say like, hey, this is a really good photo, then I think there's something that people appreciate about that photo, rather than like, okay, I can shoot this too. Then okay, maybe you need to
Work on it.
work on it and show more of what you're able to do lah.
So what makes a good photo?
Wow, okay. I think a good photo is just able to convey the feeling, or to capture that moment. Yeah, photography is all about capturing the moment, but in that moment, the feel or how you want to convey that image. Like I like very dynamic shots for my music work. By my weddings, I like that very subtle, soft, kind of like moments where we call in wedding photography the very fleeting kind of moments. And I think it also depends on the very individual. That's what sets us apart. Like your life experiences and my life experiences are very different. Like when I approach a wedding, I tend to gravitate more towards like, okay, grandparents are still around. I think they appreciate more photos with the grandparents. So I think that's something that I would kind of like look towards.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, based on what you're saying, in order for a professional, like at the highest level of photography, you have to be relatively observant of the surroundings, especially if you're shooting live things like wedding, or like if it's a ceremony of some kind, or event. Like you really have to be very observant in order to capture these moments that actually mean something to the client, right?
Yeah,
it's not just like shoot, then like it's all about the aesthetics, right? Like like the so it's really about storytelling in the form of a still image, which frankly I think is pretty hard to do, right? So over the years, your 15-16 years of doing this, what do you feel like is the greatest challenge as a photographer?
I think the more photographers that are out there now, like what we like to call the Uncle Bobs. Uncle Bobs could be like your uncle who is like carrying his camera around, and then like, my camera is better than yours kind of vibe. And then you have along the way we have like uncles of the bride or the groom. It's like, I'm her uncle. I can do whatever I want. I have permission from the couple. But it's like, I mean, we can shoot alongside each other, but just don't get in our way lah. Yeah. So that happens quite a bit.
Right.
To be very honest, in the first few years of my career, I always find that very annoying, and I'll kind of like just shove them away, and I tell them off. But I think now, as years go by, I'm pretty chill about it. It's like, oh, okay, I'll just find a way to to just move aside and I mean, if you're in the picture, then you're in the picture. I'll just give it to the couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so that's in terms of the wedding photography lah. Yeah,
So essentially, people problems are like as with
essentially
most.
people problems.
How about like communicating with your clients? Like, do you think that is something that you enjoy doing? Because at the end of the day, you still gotta, I guess, pitch your work to the clients in some way, whether it's before or after the.
Oh, this also has been very challenging, to be honest. When I started doing photography, I was like a total introvert. Maybe I think I still am deep inside. But as time goes by, and I realized that a huge part of photography is about communication, be it whether you're on the job or before the job where you need to communicate with your clients. So that's a huge stepping stone for me when I started out. So like way back then, I was like, I don't even had the courage to like meet up with clients. Before I had my previous day job, I was just like taking instructions from people and like, yeah, you tell me to do what, I will do what.
Yeah.
But after doing photography, I realized that especially weddings, you need to really communicate with the couple, their families, or even like the wedding planners. They're like almost everybody throughout the entire day you need to communicate. Even for like music, like when I had opportunity to meet up with some of my idols, I was like, I don't know how to react. I was like so starstruck.
Yeah.
And then when that happens, it's very difficult to actually kind of like grab their photo because like I don't know what to say. I was like, wow, like literally, she was like, oh, I've been wanting to say hello to you for long, but now I can't even like literally starstruck. So along the way, as time goes by, as more opportunities given to me, I get the chance to like, I mean, it's either I do it or I don't. I think it's better to do it than not lah. So
True. Yeah. Over the years, like you have shot for quite a lot of celebrities, like quite a lot of concerts, lah. Like what are some of the more memorable celebrities that you have shot for?
I think just last year, one of the more memorable ones would be like the Strokes when they came
nice.
to Singapore. It was very random. I was on the computer one night, quite late at night already, and I received this email. Probably, I think it was like around 1 a.m. It's like, hey, I'm so and so. I'm representing the Strokes, and we're looking for a photographer for our show. Will you be interested? And then like just this random name sign off and like it's just this email. It's like damn short. So I was like, is this real? Like, so I had to go like dig out I Google a little bit and stuff like that. Like this might be legit lah. So I went to reply and the person really actually got back, and then we started talking, and then turns out to be one of a very challenging but very rewarding shoot. Because for once or for the very first time, they actually allow me to have like full freedom to shoot whatever I want. They even allow me to post whatever I want, and even allow me to sell prints.
Wow.
Yeah, which is very rare, and it's all written down nicely in the contract. So the only thing that I had to do was, if I want to sell any prints, I have to just let them know which are the images and then just ask them if it's okay. But it was just very chill and very easy to deal with lah. Yeah, whereas on the other end of the spectrum, there will be like artists who the contracts will be like, no posting, no the images, the rights belong to us. You don't belong. You don't get to use it for anything. So yeah, I guess the industry it's
give and take lah.
It's a give and take. Because the more interesting it's when I get to meet my heroes lah. So one of the bands that I really wanted, I was like, okay, if after I meet this band, if I don't do photography anymore, I'm happy.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that was like 2017 when Foo Fighters came.
Ooh, nice.
So
nice.
that's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
my
I love Foo. I love Dave Grohl.
yeah.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
I got an opportunity to
Take a photo with them.
Yeah, to sit in on their listening party. So there was a listening party for their new album at that time
Mm.
before their concert here in Singapore.
Mm.
So I shot that like listening party, and there was like a mini press conference, and all the media was there. And after all the media left, I had the opportunity to just have a chat with them lah.
Right.
And there were some VIPs taking photos with the band, and then I just casually asked at the end of everything if I could take a photo with the band, and then I look at Dave, of course. Then it's like, no. Then he like, oh, get in here.
Yeah.
Then I was like, he had his arm around me, and we took a photo, a proper photo with my camera, with the whole band, and then
Nice.
I went around asking for selfies with Pat and the rest of the band, and Taylor Hawkins.
And, yeah, that was probably the last few opportunities that anybody would ever have to like really meet the band lah.
Yeah.
These days it's a bit different.
Yeah, I think maybe from a while ago I can remember is Paramore. Paramore also had an interesting story. So when they first came, they weren't that huge. I was shooting for their label, and then there was like a meet and greet before the show. So I got a photo with the band, and then I shot the show. And then I realized Hayley actually used my photo for a profile photo on her Twitter.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow, it's a pretty big thing, man.
Yeah, it was a really big thing. And then the next show when she came, right? So obviously I printed that photo for her to sign.
Yeah, nice.
So I was like, do you remember this photo? It's like, yeah, of course. I use it as my Twitter profile photo. Then I asked her if she signed it for me, and she did lah.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was the second time that they came. And then the third time that they came, I asked her to sign another photo. And at that time, they were a little bit bigger, so
Right.
security was a little bit
Tighter.
tighter. So the moment I kind of like approached her to say hi, I was stopped by her manager.
Wow.
And then Hayley was like, no, it's okay, we are cool.
Yeah.
And then I got to speak to her for a while more.
Like she remembers you lah.
Yeah, I just have to remind her.
It's like, hey, is me this one the Twitter photo?
Yeah,
nice,
so
nice.
that was cool lah.
Wow, yeah. I mean, it's I guess the rewarding part about shooting, I think sometimes like working with celebrities and like rock stars can look a bit can look glamorous from the outside lah. But I guess it's also a lot of like sweat, literal sweat, and like learning to communicate with artist management, which sometimes might not be too friendly.
And learning to read the situation in the room at that time, whether you can go for it or not. Sometimes you really want to, but if you go, you probably jeopardize something, and so better not.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like being a photographer is, I guess, still considered a very creative job, very creative role. It's very fluid in many ways, like learning how to read situations, and creative jobs are famously known for being not very well paid compared to a lot of other industries, right? So in your own experience, right, photographers, I guess, usually charge by per project or per hour. So for I guess a regular professional photographer, whether it's for weddings or concerts, what do you think is the average rate in Singapore if we were to go by hourly rate?
I think the average
range
rate in Singapore for like event photographer will probably be between like 150 per hour to like 250 per hour.
And does that include editing also?
Yeah, it includes the editing. There are photographers out there who, like, let's say they are hired for like a 4-hour job, but they charge 5 hours. They include like 1 hour of their time for just like editing fee or for like transport fee, that sort of thing. But most of the time, everything is factored in the quote already. Some photographers already state very clearly like, okay, so this 4 hours rate, and then this is the transportation rate. Some also include like equipment rental rate. I know of like 2 photographers, they don't own their own equipment. Yeah. So they literally have to rent. So if you want to book them like the last minute, they will not take the job because they have other commitments already.
Right.
Yeah.
But I guess if you are very expensive, but if people appreciate your work enough, they will still pay for it.
Yeah.
Right.
On the other hand, there are photographers who charge per project. Yeah. I think this comes with the more experienced ones. It's something different, but yet I see it a bit more right now, as in like photographers are charging per project. So it could be a simple 1 hour job, but they don't charge by an hour, they charge by the entire project because it took them so many years of experience to be able to do this job
In 1 hour.
in an hour or even like in half an hour. And of course, let's say for a simple portrait setup, in the office, let's say you need to shoot like a CEO, you need to bring down the equipment, the lighting and everything. All this takes time, and to know even where to place the lights, how many lights to use, and to make it comfortable, the communication, all this is part of what they have learned, and they decided to charge it per project. Yeah.
Do you think that like in recent years, because of like social media, people learning photography by themselves, there are more and more, I would say, more pro-level hobbyists coming out to kind of do side hustles, right? To take photos on the weekends. And because that is not their main job, they can afford to charge lower. Do you think this has affected like the professional industry in any way?
Oh, I think this has been going around for the longest time, way before like social media was around. Like you have your 9 to 5 workers who are hobbyists, and then on the weekends they go out and shoot like weddings or shoot like events.
Yeah.
So it's been around for a while. But I think what sets a full-time professional apart from all these side hustlers would be the level of professionalism. And as a full-time photographer, you rely on this one job. I mean, like your photography to make a living. So the chances of not screwing up is you will do all the best that you can to mitigate all these factors of screwing up. So say for example, for us professional photographers, we will have a couple of levels of backup for our images. But this guy who does it on the weekend, he might have just one backup. But for us, we have like 3, 4.
Right.
Some even have like 5. I know of a friend who even has like a backup of all his backups at his parents' house. Yeah. So he has to constantly shuffle. Yeah. So it's also an excuse for him to visit his parents and exchanging hard disks to the latest one.
Yeah. It's important, right? Because once you lose the backups, then it's gone. You can't recreate.
But on the other hand, this day age, there's also like the cloud storage, which most of us are also using. So that's one way to like lower the risk as well. But reputation counts if you're like a full-time professional photographer. So that's one way of like assuring your clients that this is our full-time gig. We cannot afford to screw it up for you. So if you like our work, you have to trust us on all these processes.
So if there are people out there that's watching or listening and they are keen to kind of like walk down the same path as you to become a professional photographer full-time, right? What would be your advice for them? Don't do. Kidding.
It might be a long process, but I guess don't give up. Like when I started, I didn't really expect to do this
Like
full time.
for real,
I had a goal, but I think as I grow older and other commitments, the goal is harder to achieve already.
Yeah.
So I always tell people that I really want to go on tour with like Coldplay, like a big A-lister band.
Right.
But as years go by, you have your other commitments here.
Yeah.
Like just now we were just talking, we have mortgage to pay.
Yeah.
So it's quite difficult. But if Coldplay hits me up and asks me to go for
you
6
gotta
months,
go.
bye, I'm going. 6 months, and then I think that's like life dream fulfilled, and then yeah, I kind of like, I'll be done already.
Yeah, but also because as a freelancer, like for most of us, like as freelancers, you are subjected to the ups and downs of the particular industry, right? Like just now you were saying off camera that like as a wedding photographer, there will be off seasons, like 7 months, 清明, nobody do weddings, so then you have to rely on some of the other stuff that you might be working on, whether it's like shooting portraits or shooting like other things, right? So there will be its ups and downs, and it will be like during COVID, it must have been quite tough because there are no live anything.
Yeah, no
to
live anything.
shoot, right? So you gotta kind of tide through the period.
Yeah. So I mean, back to it, it was like, as cliche as it sounds, like everybody tell you that you must work hard and don't give up. But I think I've learned along the way, staying healthy is one of the greatest and most important things too. Like we won't know what will happen along the way. We might fall sick. We might, doing a shoot, we might even trip and fall and hurt ourselves.
Yeah, I remember you kind of hurt your back or something.
I hurt my
Many-
knee, my leg,
knee-
yeah. So
many
like,
parts.
many parts, yeah. They have all the equipment. So
Physical demanding job. physically.
staying healthy helps a lot. Not that I'm the healthiest, but and yeah, because we work long hours and we edit till late, so that takes a toll on our health also. And shooting music with all the loud
Yeah.
music will affect our ears. So I'll always make it a point to tell anybody I meet, or even like the budding photographers from the Babies program, right? That earplugs is a must, no matter what kind of music you are shooting, as long as you are shooting as long as you're shooting music, no matter what kind, just make it a habit to have your earplugs on. Because like I always mention, I also have friends who I know who have hearing problems or who have lost hearing in a year. So that's it could be avoided, I guess.
Correct. Because once it's gone, cannot save really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So if somebody is keen on like working with you, engaging you as their photographer, is there anywhere that they can look at your portfolio or find you online?
Okay, so for now, my Instagram seems to be the most active. I try to. So it's at Aloysius Lim, ALOYSIUSLIM. I'm also in the midst of updating my website. So, but yeah, you get updates from Instagram when it's up.
Nice. And they can reach out to you via Instagram also if they want to.
I reply to all messages. Yeah.
Nice. All
as
right,
soon as
man.
I can.
So if you want to hire the photographer that shot Hayley Williams' DP on Twitter, you can hit Aloysius up at Aloysius Lim. And thank you so much, Aloysius, for coming
Thank you for having
to
me.
the studio today. And I hope that you will continue to shoot many more concerts and many more weddings.
And hope to shoot your next show.
Well, don't know when that's going to happen, but hopefully. All right. Thank you so much, Aloysius.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time on the One Day at a Time podcast. Peace.
Bye.